tahurat, which means purification, right?
Yeah, tahara, yeah, purification,
right?
yeah. We have the same words, tahara.
Yeah, so we have tahara.
Yeah, so tahara is before prayer.
Yeah, so you have to do that before prayer.
You have to
How do you do this?
You just immerse in a massive mikveh, it's called.
Yeah.
That is rainwater usually.
And do you have a sequence?
You just have to go in the whole way. You have to immerse your whole body.
So why don't you choose shower?
It's a different, because this is rainwater. Yeah? There's a lot of rules, halachic rules, how a mikveh has to be set up.
All right, so you do that every time before you pray?
Every morning. Every morning.
You get the rainwater?
It's already there. In every synagogue. In every synagogue you have a mikveh.
Oh, right. And
you have it going back 1,000 years. If you look anywhere.
Where did they get it?
They build it. What happens is, it's very interesting. They build a massive, like a little pool.
Yes.
Outside they have like gutters that catches rainwater.
Oh, right.
It goes outside. You've got a massive place where.
So it has to be rainwater.
It has to be rainwater. It has to be connected to rainwater. One or two. Or it could be a well, live water. So it could be a river.
So it can't be stagnant. It can't be.
It can't be.
But why can't it be just normal water?
Why it can't be? Because it's a halachic.
Oh, right. Yeah, it has to be from the rain.
It has to be connected to rainwater.
Okay.
That's it's the main point is that you have to be clean. That's the point of it. The point is you have to purify.
And do you do bath?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'll ask you on this point actually.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ask.
Yeah.
You know, ghusl, after sexual intimacy with your wife, do you have to go to the synagogue to do that? Is that true? I just heard that. I just want to ask if that's true or not.
The main point is you have to be clean. So whatever you did, number one, the women always, after the period, they go into mikveh themselves.
Say again? They have to go.
The women all have to go.
They have to go to the synagogue.
They have their own places, their own mikveh.
You can't do
in the house.
In the house, basically.
You don't have it in the house. No one has a mikveh in the house. Who would build?
Oh, he's talking about rainwater. It's got to be rainwater, isn't it?
Yeah, no one have it at home.
Yeah, it's got to be. Oh, that's why. So they have. It's called mikveh. You call it.
It's called mikveh.
Yeah.
You can search on Google and you see it. Every Jewish woman.
But does it have to be the whole body?
The whole body.
Yeah.
The whole body.
Even the hair inside.
Everything has to be immersed completely.
Yeah. Same thing we have, but we can do we have the comfort of doing it in the home.
You have the comfort of doing it at home.
In the shower.
Yeah, it's got to be in the shower. Or in the bath. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So for us, that is related. There's two parts of it. There's the part of it of married men, but even unmarried men every morning when they
have a wet dream or something. Oh no, just you're waking up. Yeah.
You wake up.
But does that have to be the whole body?
The whole body.
And you can't pray without this.
They get dressed at home.
Yeah.
They go to synagogue. They take a shower in the synagogue. They're immersed in the water. Mikveh.
Yeah.
That's it. You're catching on very fast.
No, because a lot of it is quite similar. And then you do your morning prayer.
Yeah, we do our morning prayer.
So can you give us like maybe just a couple of lines of what you say? Like some of the main supplications that you make? Do you remember them off by heart, or do you have to look at the paper?
We do it in Hebrew. We do it in Hebrew.
Yes, do it in Hebrew. Do it and translate it. Yeah, I want to hear it.
That's a long.
No, just give me one that's a short one, like a bit, like a taster.
Ata Kudosh, for example, Ata Kudosh, you are holy. V'Shem Kudosh, and your name is holy.
Subhanallah.
And all your holy people praise you and every Kain Melech Kudol, that means is your God, Melech our King, Kudosh, that is holy, who you are. Or the Kuchat Hashem means blessed are you the Lord, Alekani our King, and the King of our forefathers, Alekai the King of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. You give from your goodness to all your beings, and you created everything, and you remember our forefathers, and you're going to bring redemption to his followers.
Yeah, there's lots of overlap, basically.
There's going to be lots of overlap. Not just that, there's lots of overlap even in the Semitic language.
Yeah.
That means is the word, even the way you call God, we never mention God's name.
Hashem, you say Hashem, isn't it?
We say Hashem means Hashem, the translation of Hashem means his name.
But you don't say Yahweh.
You don't say anything. That word we never ever say.
Why not?
We mustn't say that.
Is that, you know, in the Bible when you read it in Hebrew,
we have
you have to say Hashim when it comes to
even that means when I talk to him, we will say a few things that say like you
the
say
4-letter word.
100
Yeah.
We would say Baruch Hashem means blessed is his name, or we will say when it comes to if you heard yourself say Oy Vatata, like father, we would call him Ovinu, our father, but we would never In prayer, there is a word we do use, but it's never going to be the correct words, as it says.
Okay, let me ask you a question, right? So I'm just trying to take it step by step. So you have how many prayers a day?
3 prayers a day, on a normal day.
So the first one, you do like 30, 40, 50 minutes, let's say an hour, yeah?
Yeah.
And you're doing all your supplications.
If you got 30 minutes, call me to it, I'll join it.
No, but when, like for us, like we have these supplications, but then we get used to it. We can say quicker. When you memorize it, you can say it quicker.
But because you have to do it,
if you say all of them,
you have to say the congregation.
Then you can't say it too quickly, isn't it?
You can't say secretly.
Yeah, we say this.
In the afternoon, you have another one that takes about. In the fast setup would be 20 minutes.
Yes, and it's the same thing, shaking up and down.
Shaking up and down. Yeah, it's a different praise a little bit.
What is the significance of the shaking?
It's in our DNA.
Is that just what you do?
It's just what we do. It's basically living your prayer, as they say.
Yeah, I get you, but it's not.
It's not
the thing you have to. You can just do it standing up.
There is for the Amida prayer. Yeah. There is a way we bow, but we don't go down. We go like this, just for the beginning of the Shemona Esrei.
Yeah.
There are a few times that you do give a small bow, but nothing where you're meant to. But overall, then you don't have it, and then you have an evening again for another 20 minutes.
And the third one?
The evening. Maghrib.
Yeah. Maghrib.
Maghrib means at night.
We just did that one now. Maghrib.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very similar.
It's not dark enough.
Yeah, we have to catch our minche.
Yeah, basically this is a Shia school of thought. Now we know. Yeah, we just
it's too early to do Maghrib.
Yeah, I know.
That's what the Shia say, right? That's what the Shia. They say it has to be a bit darker, right?
It does.
Yeah. No, but for us, it's basically when the sun. Maghrib and Isha are two different things. So we have 5 prayers. The first one is Fajr, right? So this is when you see the lining of it's not exactly sunrise. So you see like streaks in the sky.
For us, the interesting to know, for us to know when you can start doing the morning prayer is when you know the difference between blue and white.
Is it?
The colors of the flag of the state, what they call Israel today, comes from that verse, from the Mishnah. That is like the section before the Talmud. The Talmud is based on Mishnah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And that it comes that you have to once you can see the difference between blue and white.
Oh, that's why. I didn't know that. That's the reason. Oh, it's because you have to know when time for prayer, right?
When time for prayer. When is it light enough to start your morning prayer when you can see the difference between?
Yeah, we have the prayer called Duha, which is not compulsory, but it's basically when the light comes up when it's. We have that, and then we have Dhuhr, which is when the sun reaches the apex.
Oh, that's when we start the afternoon prayer.
Apex, right? Yeah. And then we have Asr, when the declining sun, and there's basically when your shadow is 2 spears length. Yeah. Do you have that shadow as well? Shadows, yeah?
Yeah, we interesting is that when we mention shadows, they mention the walls that goes around the reference as Al-Quds. You know the Al-Aqsa and Al-Quds?
Yeah.
So because the stones are narrow each level, so they measure when it's centered there in Jerusalem according to the shadow from the wall, the way it follows down.
Wow.
Back in the Mishnah, that is before the Talmud.
And then we got the last prayer, which is Isha, which is basically when there's no more red in the sky.
Oh.
It's called the Shafaq al-Ahmar.
And that's when we do Maghrib.
When you do Maghrib. Oh, okay.
So we are Shia.
So the first time
We heard it from them.
Shia and Sunni talk together.
And so, just going back to the halakhic rules, sorry to ask some questions.
Go ahead.
With the sexual intercourse, what's the idea with the sheet?
Doesn't exist.
Oh, is it fake? Is it
Fake news.
really? Yeah. Is there no such sheet?
No such sheet.
So-
never existed.
What is allowed and what is not allowed?
What is allowed and what is not allowed? Oh.
Can I ask you, is it allowed to convert to Judaism? Because I hear 2 things here. Like many,
We wouldn't encourage.
We don't.
some students of rabbi, they come here. They
Let's
say,
put it this
"Oh, yeah,
way.
you can
Many
convert."
people ask what the word Jewish people mean.
Yeah.
Is it a religion? Is it a race? Is it a bloodline? What does the word Yehudi mean? The word Yehudi means that the people who generate from a place called Yehudi, Yehuda in Israel. Yeah. So that means it's a place, a tribe. Back in 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, the world was full of tribes. You had 2 tribes. People don't know that one time in history there was one massive Jewish state where it was all under King David and King Solomon, and then there were two Jewish states. There was one called Yehuda and one called Israel. Yehuda was from the tribes. People ask all the time, are the people who come from Ethiopian Jewish or not? Are those people Jewish or not? And they don't understand the history that lies behind it. The history behind this all is one little thing. That means it goes as follows. The Assyrians came and they obliterated the entire northern state of Israel. And that were the 10 tribes. Mm-hmm. And they stopped to exist. And the only tribe that still exists was Yehuda, Benjamin, and a few parts of other tribes that existed under Yehuda. And he was the king. Now, you can have a Jewish atheist who's a Jewish. Why? Because he's part of that tribe. And what happened is, throughout the history, when the Romans came and they put them into exile, the Jewish people quickly packed up a little suitcase and they packed in their culture, their religion, their way of thinking, their food and their mindset. And then they traveled through Europe. Throughout Europe, being in exile so many thousands of years, people decide the suitcase is too heavy. So some people decide, this part is too heavy, so I drop my religion. Some people kept just the culture. And some people said, we were prosecuted throughout history. What's the reason we are being prosecuted? Is it because we don't mix with other communities? Or is it because we have our own religion? And people said 2,000 years, it's a bit too long to hope for the redemption, as you would call it. And they've stopped. They've assimilated in society. They've adopted lifestyle. That means I'm now busy for weeks now following my lineage. And you can see when they went into Poland, they spelled their last name with a J because that's year. And then they went to Germany and they changed their spelling. They tried to fit into its culture where they went after so many years in exile. So what the word Jewish means is one thing. You come from a place, a tribe called Yehuda. And that's what it is.
Is it allowed to convert to Judaism?
Now, that's why you can convert to Judaism as a religion. It's not something we would advise. We would say Muhammad came to enlighten the entire Arabian Peninsula and follow Muhammad's religion and follow it well and give tzedakah, give what you call it, charity, do your prayers, be a good person, follow your religion, and that's the best part. What Muhammad came to enlighten the entire Muslim world. That the same way that Isa came to enlighten the Western world.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
If it's based primarily on location and tribalism...
That's what it was originally, yes.
Yeah. What would be the response to those that say, look, in human nature, there's naturally competition and threats among different tribes and races, and everyone needs some kind of a law to legitimize for themselves power and to rule over others, and this is exactly what the Tanakh does for a particular tribe, and this is man-made in order to grant rights to one tribe as opposed to others. For example, one group of people say, God spoke to us and they've given us these rights and we have the right over everything. For example, wherever I place my foot, this land will belong to me. Things like that. What would be the response to validate the authenticity of the Tanakh as being divine rather than man-made?
From a theological point of view or from a practical point of view? Let's put it this way.
Yep.
The Tanakh, you could see it very much, if you want, from an outside perspective, as a community, a tribe's history book. The way they want it to be visualized. Now what we believe at the same time is that the leaders throughout the Tanakh were all prophets, and that's why when people ask us why a Jew can't say Muhammad is a prophet for the Jewish people, pick the up on him, and the simple answer is, for us there's a simple rule, what the prophet for the Jewish people could be, and he can't change the Torah, and the second the prophet comes to change the Torah, he can't be a prophet for the Israelites people. But people think that Tanakh is only to glorify. The Tanakh at the same time tears apart the Jewish people at every stage in history when the Jewish people did not follow the laws of the Torah. The Tanakh tells us this kingdom went bad, and people that went through famine, the people had tough times. It's not a glorification book of a certain tribe. It's a story that is a divine story for us, but it's a divine story that has in it the good, the bad, the very good and the ugly as well.
So as a divine story, there's a lot of politics involved in it.
There is a very lot of politics.
And a huge amount of it is to do with leadership and authority.
A lot of it.
Taking land,
a lot of it.
taking property, taking wealth. So in essence, it's a book of power. And it's a book of tribal power. And the basis of that power is that our tribe, so we're a group here at Hyde Park, you may have another group at Regent's Park, but because we know each other, we say, look, we have this revelation that wherever we step belongs to us. Inside we may have internal conflicts, but the Tanakh is about power and kingship and control.
It's far more internal politics between inter-tribe, that means
intertribal conflicts.
Intertribal conflicts between Jewish groups.
But what I'm talking about is
it's far less focused on external politics than internal. It's a far more internal political.
So it's
matter.
more about the regional aspect.
The regional and inward more than outward.
So then, what would you say is the evidence that this is not man-made to suit a particular tribe's benefits?
My question is, mythological thinking that is divine won't change the fact of what the text is trying to portray at the same time anyway.
Yeah.
And the text from its perspective is, on an historical point of view, it was a war, they won it, they lost it. This king came up, this king went down, this one became the chief judge, that one became the chief judge. The people wanted more judges, the people gave people judges, they didn't want judges.
No, I'll take your number, yeah? Is that
Yeah, sure.
Because
I'm gonna run.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I take your...
It's 07528.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we're going to the same restaurant. You guys are invited as well if you want to come. Where is it?
Halal.
Halal, yeah.
Save it as Aaron, yeah?
Aaron.
Aaron. I'll give you, buzz me up and I'll give you a text back.
Okay, fantastic.